we are not at that point where an AI is so good that you can just give it like high level targets and be like, build this out for me. It's going to do a poor job. It's really good at building certain things, but you have to be very specific on what you want.
I was a derivatives trader before this, and I, for example, taught myself how to code Python. Very basic stuff, to write scripts and automate stuff that I didn't want to do and so on. And obviously that was before AI. And I was chatting with someone about this recently, that how different it would be to learn these things now with AI when you can just write a problem in a ChatGPT and get a pretty good script straight out of it. But this, as we're talking about hard and soft skills and thinking about how you find the best talent, people that have a really good thought process and problem solving ability and learning and so on, what do you think is the impact of AI on that sort of thing? As you know, maybe it makes certain hard skills, knowing a specific technology, maybe less important because you can accelerate the learning or the practical thing faster.
It comes back to those basics. So AI, especially generative AI and LLMs, they are going to increase how people are able to adapt new technologies. And I actually hate speculation, but apparently I'm going to do it anyway. And I believe that the role of software developer will change, or a software engineer. In a sense, yes, and in a sense, no. That the abstraction level will probably rise, and we will use prompts or natural language much more frequently in writing the systems that we build. But it comes back to the skills. Do you understand the concepts of what you're building and why you're building it and what creates value and things like these? We already see this at work, and obviously talking to a lot of our engineers and architects and developers, etc. They are already using AI to learn faster and learn new languages. You can move between stacks much faster. But if you don't understand the tools you're using, or, let's assume you're generating some code and you don't know what it's doing, you won't be able to, if there's a problem, you won't be able to fix it. If you don't understand the concepts, you're going to direct it wrong. So we are not at that point where an AI is so good that you can just give it like high level targets and be like, build this out for me. It's going to do a poor job. It's really good at building certain things, but you have to be very specific on what you want. And if you look at, from our point of view, building a complex system, a lot of the work is actually trying to understand the problem that you're solving, and writing the code is the result of that problem-solving thought process. And AI is currently able to help you in that implementation part in certain bits, and can also spar on the problem-solving part, but it still requires a human to actually do the work. But I do believe that things are changing, and AI will help us, but it will also create bad code. There's going to be people with less experience and doing things. We call that Stack Overflow coding, where you copy paste stuff from Stack Overflow and just put it there, and people don't understand what happens. And then somebody has to change it, or a bug appears, and then they're like, oh, what's this? So, I mean, AI is not on a level of understanding a full code base of a big system.
You talk about like demystifying AI, and how people view AI as this sort of mystical, unexplainable thing, I think.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I mean, to me, it means that most people in the tech industry are often said to be arrogant, and that's true to a certain extent. But people use AI and throw around that word, and then people with non-tech backgrounds don't necessarily understand what AI means, what it does, which leads into these weird kind of discussions where, is AI going to do this or this and take over the world, and etc. I think it's very important that the people who understand the tech actually help make it more understandable for the people who don't have the knowledge of what it does. And that's one of the reasons why we did this Elements of AI course already 4 or 5 years ago, I think. And it's been quite a big success. And if I don't remember wrong, I think 1 million people or even more than 1 million people in the EU has done that course. And so I think there's a certain type of responsibility for people in the tech industry, but also like tech journalists to, actually make it understandable and, describe it in ways that is not fear-mongering or painting pictures that are not maybe realistic. But very often those create good headlines, though.
Yeah.
So avoiding that is super interesting. But yeah, I'm hoping that we're going to get over this phase because it's so new, it's developing so fast, and everybody's trying to keep up. So there's bound to be this asymmetry of understanding.
As you talk about kind of demystifying AI or explaining it in simple terms, like how would you explain AI in its current form as we have AI today to your mom or to your grandma? Or if you want to more specifically, something like ChatGPT.
Yeah. If we talk about generative AI, like LLMs, like ChatGPT, it's basically all the information we have in digital form shoved into a box that's in a way undeterministic, meaning it won't give you the same result every time. So if you ask it a question, it will give you a different answer almost every time. So in that sense, it's harder to draw the boundaries of what it is and what it is not, what it is capable of and what it is not. But basically, it's huge knowledge base that can combine things and give you answers to things that you didn't know existed. But it can't create new information.
I'm curious if you were talking with, let's say, I don't know, a computer science student that's halfway through their degree and is afraid of, what their career prospects look like. What would you say to them, or what would you recommend they focus on learning to sort of have defensibility?
Yeah. I like this sentence of, being a short-term pessimist and a long-term optimist with technology, which basically is that short-term we will have challenges, whether it's regulation or things like that, and long-term it will make our lives better. But while we adapt to the new technologies, we will get some kind of challenges. For a computer scientist who is studying now, I would say don't stop studying computer science or learning how to write code. But don't shy away from the AI tools either. So make sure you understand the concepts behind of the programming languages, understand how they are built, why they are used to do what things. And when you're learning, utilize the tools that you have. Use ChatGPT, use GitHub Copilot to, help you learn better. Incorporate it in your writing of code when you do stuff. If your school assignment says implement this algorithm, try to do it yourself, try to understand what that algorithm does, and then spar with ChatGPT. Ask it to explain the concepts to you. Use it as a tool. How I look at this is technological disruptions like what is happening right now. It's going to do different things. And if you look at the job market, you're in a better spot if you already know how to use these tools compared to if you go there and I haven't used this because, my school didn't allow. If the school doesn't allow, that's not a very good thing. It's like with digital cameras when they came. I mean, photographers were doing their work, digital cameras came. Of course, people started adopting it. So just move with the world.
Yeah, that's good advice. Move with the world.